hard work and nature has no substitutes. After having taught physics for 15 years, I have never seen a physics paper disappointing a student in the examination hall. We will try to understand what actually your theory question paper looks like. This is the right place, the right platform, the right roof. This is the place which will turn all your dreams into reality. Hello students, a warm welcome to the Temple of Excellence, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysore. We shall now start with the sessions based on your first PUC syllabus. My dear friends, all these days you have cherished the footpaths, cherished the pathways of your school life. With heavy hearts, you are entering into your college life. A new start, a new journey. You have dreamed of your future. This is the right place, the right platform, the right roof, the Temple of Excellence, which will actually make all your dreams come true. You may have dreamt of a stethoscope in your hand, dreamt of an engineering device, or dreamt of any academic success. This is the place which will turn all your dreams into reality. My dear students, Temple of Excellence, so to its name, the only college which has secured third rank in the medical CET, only 1 year of its inception. Right place, right decision, right start. My dear students, this is SD Sir, who will take you around the world of fuses. Interesting? Fuses is nothing but physics. So I am a faculty of physics from the esteemed Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysore. Today we shall have an introductory class, a hawk eye view as to what we will be doing in our first PUC course. So, with all pleasure, I warmly welcome each one of you to the Temple of Excellence as well as the sessions on physics. My dear students, physics is that subject which is the epitome of the physical world. Each and everything around us, what we call as physical world, is better understood from the concepts of physics. Right from the idea of gravitation, where an apple falls down on a genius called Newton, to the principles of launching a rocket, to the principles of conversion of mass to energy, to the principles of relativity. Physics makes you understand, makes you feel good about the physical world you live in. So, my dear students, it is rather enchanting, interesting to study physics as a subject. I hope you have studied physics in your fundamental classes. I hope you have appreciated the concepts, and I will make a solid effort that you more appreciate physics as you go through the sessions. Now, before I start the introductory class, my dear friends, any academic success lies in understanding the composition of the academic syllabus, the composition of the examination pattern, and analyzing how good I am in studying the subject. And that is all what am I doing in today's session. I will help you all to understand the composition of first PUC physics. I will explain what is the composition of the examination pattern when it comes to physics, and give you the blueprint, the weightage of the chapters you study, the pattern of the question paper, really important. As I told, if you need to succeed, you need to know what you are doing. You need to play on your strengths. You need to suppress your weakness. That is what is the basic aim of understanding the question paper. My dear students, if you observe the slide on the board, the entire theory paper is set for a maximum of 105 marks. Your first PUC physics question paper is set for a maximum of 105 marks, out of which you will be answering only for 70 marks. See the beauty? The actual weightage of the question paper is 105 marks, out of which I am answering for 70 marks. That is the beauty of physics. 35 marks choice, which means even a person who feels physics is a little bit pulling him back makes a genuine effort of scoring a 90 plus. What is the total marks set on your theory paper? It is 105, out of which I will be answering a maximum of 70 marks. I have got a whole lot of choice in the world so that I am comfortable with my theory paper. And the duration of the theory examination is 3 hours 15 minutes. I call that extra 15 minutes as my success time. What is that? Success time. So beautiful to listen. The first 15 minutes, only the question paper is given to you all so that you analyze the question paper. There will be plenty of questions which will be of my potential, which will be of my strength. So easily I can go on solving them. There may be few questions which will actually initialize my thinking process. There may be level 2 questions, what we call, which will be slightly niggling in nature. So I need to analyze them. So I need to know the questions of my strength. I need to know the questions which may initiate my thinking, and this 15 minutes will allow me to analyze the question paper. Once I have analyzed the paper, the next 3 hours beautifully, with all time in the world, with all comfort, confidently I can answer my questions. So total 105 marks. I need to attempt a maximum of 70 marks, and I have 15 minutes to gauge my success, whether I score a 99 or a centum by analyzing the question paper. Then, maximum marks for the practical examination is 30. Physics, a scientific subject. All scientific concepts are substantiated, justified through experiments. So, with your theory examination, you will also have to take up a practical examination for 30 marks and for a duration of 2 hours. My dear students, you will perform one experiment, get the output, and say, yes boss, I have done my practicals fine. So this is the skeletal out view of what actually your question paper looks like. Feathery paper. So 2 components of your exam. One, theory examination, and the other one, practical examination. Theory exam, maximum of 105 marks is set. You are answering for 70 marks, 3 hours, 15 minutes duration. Once in those 15 minutes, you analyze the question paper, you can say for the other 3 hours, you are on a cakewalk. Practical exam, 2 hours, maximum of 30 marks. One experiment has to be performed. So 70 maximum in your theory, 30 maximum in your practicals, put together will be a centum. Now, going ahead, we will try to understand what actually your theory question paper looks like. The composition of your theory paper. I told, if you need to succeed academically, if you need to score a centum, pin to pin, bit to bit, you need to understand the question paper. There are 2 important notes, 2 important criterions before understanding the composition. The first note says that if you attempt a question without writing the relevant diagrams or circuits, no marks is awarded to such answers. You have to associate your answers with relevant diagrams or circuits. And the second condition is that if you solve a numerical, a problem, without writing the relevant formula or formulae, no marks is awarded. So my dear friends, if you want to solve a problem in the exam, first you need to write the formula of that problem, then suitable substitutions have to be done, and finally the result has to be arrived. So please keep in your mind, wherever you are answering the questions, relevant diagrams and circuits have to be written. Where you solve numericals, the formula, relevant substitution has to be shown. No direct methods. Got that? Now, the first part of the question paper, you have to answer all the questions given. You will have 10 questions asked, each carrying 1 mark. Part A, you will have to answer all the given questions. 10 questions are asked and each question will carry 1 mark. Here we expect answers either in a word or statement. We don't expect stories in the entire paper actually, and more precise in your part A, where answer has to be in a word or a statement. Please to understand, friends, it is this part which will define whether you are scoring a centum, a 99 or a 95. What's so special about part A? Each question which carries 1 mark, and hence all 10 questions are compulsory. Dear students, in part A, you don't have a choice. 10 questions, all 10 questions have to be answered. If you answer all 10 questions correctly, the probability of getting a centum becomes maximum. Therefore, I call this part A as a centum definer. All 10 questions, each question carries 1 mark, answer in a word or statement. What is the nature of questions asked in part A? You may be asked a certain definition. You may be asked the statement of a law, as you have already studied Newton's first law, second law, third law, Newton's law of gravitation. We ask statements of a law, units, the SI unit of a physical quantity to be written, or there may be 1 or 2 applicative questions. But keep in mind, 10 questions, all 10 questions have to be answered. Centum definer part, answers in a word or statement. Feeling good? When we come to part B, you have to answer any 5 of the following questions, where 8 questions will be asked, each for 2 marks. From here, you enter into the world of your choice. I have choices to be on my positive here. 8 questions asked. Each question carries 2 marks. And I have to answer only 5 from those 8 questions. Which means I have a choice of 3 questions. Any 3 questions which I feel I may not get maximum, I can eliminate. I can be comfortable with 5 questions. Each questions carry 2 marks. Nature of the questions here, maybe any 2 uses, 2 applications, for example, of satellites, 2 properties of some quantity, diagrams, labeled diagrams, and this part is asked from the syllabus taken from both textbook 1 as well as textbook 2. Part C again, the word of choice. Again, I have to answer any 5 questions, 8 questions set, and each question carries 3 marks. See how flexible and comfortable physics makes you all in the exam? Part C, again, 8 questions set. I have to answer only 5. Probably you see the first question in that mail. What if I don't know? I have not studied this. Okay, there is a choice of 3 questions. Be comfortable, be confident with 5 questions because we have given a choice of 3 and each question carries 3 marks. Simple derivations, simple postulates of theories, simple diagrams which are relevant for 3 marks is asked here. Part D, and this part D is exclusively from your first textbook. The blueprint I shall discuss slightly next. Part D is exclusively from the first textbook, where I have to answer any 2 questions. These are essay type questions. My dear students, 3 questions set of 5 marks, where I have to answer only 2. There may be mathematical derivation, there may be explaining certain cycles like Carnot cycle of operation, there may be explanation of certain laws like Kepler's laws of planetary motion. So basically this is a main where we look for essay type 5 mark questions. Again the same part, 5th main, again 2 questions are asked exclusively from your second textbook. Here again I set 3 questions, each of 5 marks, from where I have been asked to solve 2 questions, again theory based. So my part D is exclusively 5 mark questions, where the 4th main is from the first textbook and the 5th main is from the second textbook. The last main, we call it as God's main. Most of you, if there is a little kink, it is in this main where you have to solve numericals. We call it as problems. And many a times students say, yes, this is a problem-based problematic main. Nothing like that. no exaggerations. My dear friends, if your concept is very, very good, your theoretical knowledge is extremely to the depth, there will be no problem, no difficulty solving this main. There will be 5 questions asked, 5 numericals asked, each for 5 marks, out of which you have to answer 3. And take on to my words, out of 5, there will be at least 3 questions which will be very direct. So, there is no need to go to a religious place, tight tags to solve the problematic main. Just your concept, just your theoretical knowledge, just your impact is enough to solve this main. If all these things are done confidently, my dear student, take on from me, getting a centum is as easy as I told as a cakewalk. After having taught physics for 15 years, I have never seen a physics paper disappointing a student in the examination hall. You give the subject your best, the subject will retaliate and take you to the peaks of centum. So this is actually the composition of the question paper. Part A, centum definer. All 10 questions have to be answered. 1 markers, answers in a word or statement. Part B, 8 questions set, 2 markers, only 5 have to be answered. Part C, 8 questions set, 3 markers, again 5 have to be answered. Part D, 4th main from the first textbook, 2 essay type questions. 5th main, again 2 questions, essay type questions from the second textbook, 5 markers. And finally, it is the problematic main, but the other way, a very simple main. You will actually enjoy solving problems, 3 problems, each for 5 marks. My dear students, if you focus on all the sessions that we do with maximum potential and sincerity, grooving into this question paper with utmost confidence is no difficult. Got that? Now, going into the composition of the chapters you have, what we call as blueprint. Blueprint defines the academic chapters that you study, the number of teaching hours, and the number of marks allotted. There may be few chapters that actually you have studied in your lower classes, few other chapters which will be new, and so the blueprint will actually explain what your first PUC syllabus looks like. The first chapter is a very fundamental chapter called Physical World. It is actually an introduction to what physics is. I told physics is nothing but fuses. From where did I get that word fuses? Greek word where fuses means nature. So physics is nothing but understanding your nature. And that is all what I teach in Physical World. I teach the different domains of physics, the different branches of physics, the scope of physics in this chapter. And also I explain what are the contributions made by physics to the world of science and technology. That is what we study in the chapter called Physical World. The second chapter, I will be dealing with units and measurements. This is a chapter which is more applicable to my realistic life. Morning, I get up, I go to the market, I ask the vegetable seller for 3 kgs of potato. Okay, for people who like non-veg, 2 kgs of chicken. There is some measurement done. What am I measuring there? Mass. I go to a tailor, ask him to stitch a shirt which is 5 centimeters in length. What am I doing there? I am measuring the length. You come to the college, I will ask you, Ramu, what is the time? By your watch. You will say, it is 9 o'clock. 9 of the clock, sir. Which means I am measuring time. See, very beautifully, all our life activities involve in certain measurements. Kohli has to measure the magnitude of momentum he has to impart to a cricket ball. Messi has to measure the magnitude of force with which he has to kick a football. The scientists measure the magnitude of escape velocity to be given to a rocket to escape into space. So, every aspect of my practical life deals with certain measurements. What do I do after measuring? I will accompany my measurement with certain units. There may be errors in my measurement, so I will teach how to eradicate errors. Once I learn how to eradicate error, I will learn how to report my result in terms of significant numbers. And finally, I will learn something called dimensions. And that is all I learn in units and measurements. The third chapter, again, a most important aspect of human life, motion. If you ask me to be idealized or localized in one place, no, it is not possible. I need to move. I travel from one place to another. I travel in a straight line. I travel in a plane. What are the aspects of motion when I travel in a straight line? How beautifully I analyze my motion inside a train. What is the difference me moving in an aeroplane? What is the difference me moving in a rocket? I study the concepts of speed, velocity, acceleration, all that you have studied in your high school premises. Slightly I will elaborate, slightly I will upgrade my thoughts and put it in motion in a straight line. Next comes motion in a plane. All of us have enjoyed playing football. When I was a kid, I enjoyed using bows and arrows. Mahabharata, Ramayana, they were my ideal serials. Take a bow, take an arrow, play with that. Today I come to understand whatever I was doing in my childhood was nothing but motion in a plane. How motion takes place in a plane. How can I define projectiles moving in plane? How can I analyze the body moving in a circle? All these things, motion in a plane. Next comes to laws of motion. I need not talk more about that. Your high school teachers would have been made you all very familiar with Newton's first law of motion, second law of motion, third law of motion. I will just add more spice to that. The dish is already cooked. In this chapter, I will make it a bit spicy so that you can enjoy it more. Work, power, energy. This is actually the consequence of laws of motion. Aspects of work, energy and power. A very, very beautiful chapter. See, the marks allotted for that is 7. System of particles and rotational motion. Slightly now, I don't go to the depth of this chapter. Yes, this is one chapter which is new to you all. When we start our sessions, very clearly, interestingly, with beautiful slides and pictures, I will explain this chapter. Chapter 8, Gravitation. All of us have heard Sir Isaac Newton sitting down an orchard tree. When an apple falls on his head, he realizes something called gravitation. My dear students, see what genius he is. After Sir Newton discovers gravitational force, one of his friends will ask, Newton, you have given the world the most beautiful impact. You have given the world the theory which will describe its origin. How do you feel? Newton was very simple in saying, dear, I have discovered a pebble on the seashore. The entire sea in front of me has to be discovered. It is this impact, students, this attitude which will make a person achieve success. Success should not be on shoulders. Success should be a motivation. Good. I will study what actually is gravitation. How, with what force of attraction two particles attract each other. How is it explaining actually the fall of an apple, the launching of rockets, putting rockets and satellites into respective orbits? All these things will be done in this beautiful chapter called Gravitation. And these are the chapters which will actually form my first textbook, the first 8 chapters. This next one is mechanical properties of solids. All of us have played with rubber bands. Why a rubber band stretches or deforms when an external force is applied? Answer is here. A very beautiful concept as to why steel is more elastic than rubber. Most of you wouldn't have heard about this concept. What is this? Steel is elastic than rubber. Beautiful. See, that is physics. All such properties will be discussed in the chapter Mechanical Properties of Solids. Same way, mechanical properties of fluids. Ink pen use madirtivi. To be naughty, I would have spilt ink on my neighbor. Why that ink is under the action, capillary action, is discussed here. How blood flows through the veins of the body, capillarity is explained here. Surface tension is explained here. So this chapter is mechanical properties of fluids. Next, thermal properties of matter, heat related properties of matter. You have learnt about conduction, convection, I add up something called radiation. We will learn how heat can be transferred from one body to another. We will learn the different laws relating the emission of heat. That is what we study in thermal properties of matter. Thermodynamics, a beautiful chapter which will deal with how heat is converted into work and work is converted into heat. Heat engines odirtira, we will discuss something called Carnot's heat engine. Kinetic theory of gases, entire description of a gas, Boyle's law, Charles' law, postulates of kinetic theory, behavior of gases under certain conditions of pressure and temperature, oscillations, and finally waves, the most characteristic chapter in first PUC physics. What is a wave? Why do you hear my sound as I talk? Formation of echoes, something called Doppler effect. Beautiful chapter. And this is one chapter which is taken into your second PU also, where you study wave optics. So these are the chapters which will comprise your second textbook. And as I told, with these, you have 14 experiments to be done. When we start our lab sessions, we will discuss about the experiments. But do remember, we are in a platform which is ready to give all that we have dreamt. But the thing is, you make up your mind thoroughly. Yes, this is what I have come for. I have got a beautiful place which will convert my dreams into actions. And this is the place for that, students. Remember, if today is the consequence of whatever I was yesterday, my tomorrow is the consequence of whatever I am today. Again, I repeat, physics will never disappoint you all until you make an effort not to disappoint physics. Students, please to remember, hard work and nature has no substitutes. In my next session, I'll start with the first chapter, first session. Until then, enjoy your academics. Most important, stay safe. Nice meeting you all. Thank you.